So those of you that watched the last video on the solenoids and the glove question, you'll recognize the solenoid here, the old one that had been sitting outside in a container and corroding for years. And I said at the time, even though it was a bit of a messy job, that if it worked and I decided to use it, then I'd pull it apart and do it properly. So I've just spent the day getting these cabinets set up properly. The other day I put on the solenoid there. It used to just have a switch on the inside. There's a pedal down there now. Put a tap on and a drain because it didn't have any before. This one here, I put the drain tray in place. Working nicely, got it all set up. Swapped the solenoid on that as well. It seems to be working well, both with the pedals, and I've got both the airlines set up so I can use them one after the other without having to swap too much over. So now that those are set up, I'm going to go through and with the first media take off the rest of this powder coating and get it as good as I can, get all of that black tarnish off, and then I'll put it in the other blaster and see what sort of a final finish I can get out of it. So I'll just strip that down, fire it in the machine, and we'll see how it goes. Now, because these had that nasty black tarnish on them from all the corrosion, and you can still kind of see on there, it hasn't really come off. I'm going to run them through this machine here, which has got a dirtier media, and it's just got a little bit of a harsher abrasive in it to try and get all that off. So I'll do it in here first, see if I can get all that off, and then we'll put it in the other one there and bring it up to finish. So let me just shut this down. This isn't the best setup, this one. This is just kind of one of my old spare cabinets, but I decided to use it anyway. So it gets used for the dirtier bits and just kind of as a spare for if I'm doing something on one of the other ones. This one's pretty much always operational. It's not ideal. You won't be able to see too much just because of the way it's set up without a wiper on it or out a freshwater rinse on it. But I'll film for a little bit until it gets too hard to see, and then I'll shut it off, and the next part you'll see will be in the finishing blaster. So I got most of that black off. Just chuck it in the other cabinet now. Put a nice finish on it. Just while I'm at it, these gloves here that I mentioned, big thanks to Justin from Justin's Trikes for all those of you in the US and apparently in Australia as well. They'll ship to Australia. You can get these from Harbour Freight, a big online store. $27 US, and they'll ship around the world, so jump on there if you can't find anywhere. I'm going to be going on later to see whether they'll ship to New Zealand, and I'll keep an eye out for any other suppliers that we may be able to get them from locally for those who need them in a hurry. But yeah, thanks for that info there, Justin. I'll get into this, and hopefully the rest of you who are putting together their cabinets are able to find the bits that you need. There's quite a nice little growing community at the moment, so you can find plenty of information around YouTube and online as to how to build your own cabinets. So let's get started back into this. So there we have it. Pretty nice finish. Could be better, but there's a lot of pitting in the metal from the corrosion, but it's come up quite nice. I just wanted to answer another question that I had, not actually from YouTube. This is in person. I was asked why I don't have freshwater boxes or a freshwater inlet for hosing down parts inside the cabinet, and there's a lot of work goes into it, and you don't actually need it. And the reason I say that is you're washing down inside a cabinet, and as you've got water flying around you, you're picking up beads off the side of the cabinet and firing it everywhere. So you're still going to get some beads back on your part anyway. And the reason I say that we don't actually need it is, depending on how you've set up your cabinet, a lot of you will already have something that will work as a freshwater wash. So what you've got in here is essentially a venturi. So when you've got your air coming through, it's going to be drawing water up anyway, and if you haven't got your pump running, you're not going to be agitating, so it'll only pick up what water is above the media levels. So if I just show you here, so you can see you get a pretty good jet of water coming out off that with the air. And that's plenty to wash off the vast majority of the beads and actually get right down inside of any of the cracks or crevices or right inside the parts there. And if I just spray on the glass there, you'll see as it runs away, there's practically no media in it. It's a very, very clean water stream. So as long as you keep the water in your reservoir quite clean, that's all you really need to give it a good wash down. And I always wash my parts down outside of the cabinet as well, just to make sure that anything that's dripping from inside the cabinet is not going to put more media back onto your part after you wash it. So there, that answers why I don't have any wash down cabinets or freshwater supplies, additional pumps. They're a lot more complex for what you're getting, and you can pretty much do the same thing just straight with that venturi action. Cuts down on the parts you need to get, still gets it fairly clean, makes it look good, and then take it out of the cabinet, and if you've got like a dip bath or something, or just wash it off under the tap with a good flow of water to get the rest of the beads out, and then dry it off with the air duster. I just find it's a much cleaner way of doing it. You don't need all the additional pumps and filters and everything on your cabinet, or you don't have to have a running fresh water supply. So to me, it's just a more simpler way of doing it. It's just as effective, gets your parts clean, and yeah, it just cuts down on the money that you have to spend on your cabinet to get it functional. So yeah, I'll pull this out, put it back together, and we'll see what sort of finish we got. So there we are, all done. Not perfect, like I say, it's got like that pitting in it, and I'll just put the old screws back in. It's not perfect, but looks a whole lot better, and it won't look out of place on the new cabinet when it's all finished. Just one more thing to point out, the drip tray that I put on yesterday seems to be doing a really good job. There's a lot of water comes out of that, and as you can see, there's a bit of a spill came out through the side of that reservoir. I'm going to change that. But as far as down the side here through that drip tray, nice and dry. So I'll keep that together, change that reservoir. I'm going to do the same thing as I've got on there, just weld on another box on the bottom, much better, much tidier, and get around that leaking issue there. Not sure why it happened. It's the first time that it's happened on me. It may have had the pump move on the inside or something, I'm not sure, but regardless, this side's sorted. Sort out the pump properly, mount it properly, and then change that reservoir, and just sort of pull it apart and tidy it up a bit, maybe paint it all one color, make it look a bit better. So that's almost done. This one here, nice and operational, no leak out of this one. That's got the harsher media in it, and that's what I use to get off that corrosion. So that one's working well, I'm happy with that. I'll probably keep that one for now just as the spare, like I said before. That one there will become the dirty blaster with all the harsher media in it. and then this one will be the finishing one. Once that's done, I've got a couple for customers that they've been waiting for, so I'll get them going, and yeah, hopefully got a few more projects coming up that I'll be able to get up here on YouTube so everyone can have a look. Cheers.